We are back with another episode of the Between the Hashes podcast here on the 515 Podcast Network. As always, joined with the boys, Braden Bankin, Brock Bierman, and myself, Dawson Livingston. Before we take a deep dive in, recapping week 2 and looking forward to week 3, Braden and Brock, how are you guys feeling?
2-0 in the NFL, 4-0 in college. Can't complain too much about it, but hopefully I don't have to watch more Mac Jones than I have to.
Ditto.
At least you get to watch a fun quarterback. I have to watch Mac Jones beat the Saints by like 5.
It is pretty fun watching a guy run like a 5-year-old with the ball. I think I saw some play that he ran for 60 something yards for a 20-yard, 30-yard gain or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, Seneca Wallace would have scored on that. What's impressive of watching someone run the ball like that if he can't score? But no, I'm all right. I don't like having to sweat out games against teams like the Panthers and the Saints. But
hey, the Panthers, they're still frisky, but they're about to lose that title. They drop one more. They might. I don't know if I can support the Panthers anymore if they start over.
I think they have a wound on their
If
paw.
Bryce Young can learn how to play in the first quarter,
dude,
we could maybe start having a conversation again.
Bryce Young had 55 pass attempts in that game.
I had him on my fantasy team. He started with -3 fantasy points and finished with 22.
Yeah. This should be a new segment of how
fantasy update of the week,
the one move that, because it seems like we have a consistent trend of we all make one mistake on our fantasy team each week. I went the entire first half of the Bears-Lions game thinking I started both Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. I started one of them,
Caleb,
and it wasn't Rome Odunze.
Yeah.
By the way, I somehow only won. I still found a way to win by 2, and the guy that I was playing against had Herbert and a Chargers receiver. I can't remember.
Quentin Johnson?
No. Why am I?
McConkey?
Yes, McConkey. Yeah. I don't know why I was blanking on it, but early on, it looked like it was over, and for some reason, it seemed like they must have let the foot off the gas against the Raiders or something, because at one point he was projected to win by 10, and I somehow won by 2 in the third quarter of that game. But yeah, Rome Odunze, another week of me putting a receiver on the bench, and Keenan Allen last week, which Keenan Allen was on my bench last week, this week as well, but then Odunze one hurt more.
Yeah, that might be a new segment we have to do to kind of open just our worst starts or benches of the week for each of us. Because I had Derrick Henry, who decided, 2 points is all he needs this week, and then Hawkinson, who also only scored 2 points, still won. But
I had TJ Hawkinson starting too, so I had Roman Odunze chilling on my bench.
Yeah.
While I had Breece Hall getting 4, and TJ Hawkinson just being TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
Did you
see the clip of Hawkinson running that in route? I need to find it on Twitter, dude. It was actually the worst route I've ever freaking
Kirk
seen.
Ferentz would be mad. He's like, you know how many times you ran that at Iowa on 3rd and 10 for a 4-yard gain? What are you doing?
Yeah. Oh man, I'll pull it up later in the episode when we get to talk about the Vikings game. But you guys have anything else before we're taking a deep dive into recapping week 2?
Not really. Anything I might have had to say, we can cover pretty easily.
All right. Week 2 started off with Commanders-Packers for Thursday Night Football. Packers ended up taking this one 27-18. Packers were leading this one, I think, at one point 17-3 in the fourth quarter, and then Washington made it a little bit closer, only losing by 9 in the end. Is Green Bay the team to beat in the NFC? Is my starting question for both of you.
I wouldn't have put them in the Super Bowl if I didn't have faith in them. So they have certainly looked like the strongest team in the NFC thus far, and until they prove otherwise, yeah, I'm going to say they're probably my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's like you can't deny it right now. The only other team would be the Eagles, but like
They
their
haven't looked
their
great to
their
start the
win
season.
their win yeah, that's the thing is like their wins name wise are impressive, but like
Jalen Hurts has like 200 passing yards on the season.
that and the teams honestly that they've played have not played as well either. Like when you really look at it, they haven't been as impressive as probably what the Packers have had to deal with the first couple weeks.
Yeah, and I guess the other storyline that came out of this game, Austin Eckler, who was, I think, presumably the Commanders' RB1, is now out for the year with a torn Achilles. So now it's just going to be a running back by committee for the Commanders of Ja'Cory Croskett-Merritt. No Brian Robinson. He was traded to San Francisco. I'm totally blanking on the other running backs' names.
Chris Rodriguez, is that the other one?
Rodriguez, yep. Is any concern for the Commanders? Or just Green Bay's a really good team and they don't really need to worry about this one?
Yeah, I would say more than anything, the Packers are just like really good.
Yep.
I don't think I really noticed too much that was an insane concern. I mean, I wouldn't say their offensive line looked great, but I mean, your offensive line is never going to look good when you have to go against Micah Parsons and that Packers defense.
Yeah, the Commanders are a good football team. It's just the Packers are a better football team right now.
Right.
And the Commanders will be fine. There's enough, like, if they want to worry about the running back room, if they don't believe in their current room that they have. There's free agents that they can work with. We mentioned a couple of them last week because we were talking about running backs. I wonder if that's going to be a trend on this season as well. But there's enough players in the free agent pool that can do enough for you that you don't need to worry about it, I feel like. So I'm not too worried about the Commanders whatsoever. I think this game is more just about the Packers being the Packers and establishing themselves as the front runner for the NFC.
Yeah, Packers offense looked really well. Jordan Love went 19 for 31, 292 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And then they were able to also run the ball really well, had 135 yards on the ground with Josh Jacobs being their leading rusher. I think for the Packers, they also, was it Dobbs that went down?
Yes, I believe
Dobbs went down with an injury. He's going to be out for, I think, a couple weeks. So that injury for the Green Bay offense. I think the one little concern I've had for Green Bay thus far, which may not amount to anything, but the lack of targets and catches for rookie receiver Matthew Golden. I think it's been concerning, but it really hasn't mattered up to this point in the season. He had 2 targets, 0 catches, 0 yards for Green Bay on Thursday, but Green Bay's 2-0. I don't think Golden's complaining. I don't think any of the Packers fans are complaining about that.
Yeah, I think that can kind of just come down to a rookie learning the offense. They already have established guys on that offense. There's not really any rush in trying to force feed him like 5 or 6 targets a game. I mean, he's getting open. There are plays where you could probably get him the ball and he'd do about as well as everybody else is doing. But, I mean, at the end of the day, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Moving on to our Sunday games. There were quite a bit of Sunday noon games that were really entertaining to watch. We're going to start off with Jags-Bengals. Bengals end up winning this one 31-27 over Jacksonville. But obviously the main storyline of this game is Joe Burrow is out for the foreseeable future for Cincinnati, out at bare minimum 3 months if he decides to get the surgery on his toe. Surprisingly enough, Jake Browning stepped in, and while he did have 3 interceptions in this game, he had 241 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and he had a rushing touchdown. Kind of kept Cincinnati afloat. Trevor Lawrence, on the other hand, 270 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Is the Bengals season over in your guys' eyes?
I mean, it certainly looks a lot worse. Obviously, you lose a MVP caliber quarterback and the likes of Joe Burrow. Obviously, it's not going to look good. But, I mean, when Joe Burrow went down a couple years ago, 2023. Jake Browning came in and cooked. Like, I would probably put Jake Browning at least in the top half of backup quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, it proved last week, like you said, obviously he had the 3 picks, but he came in, was dealing, won the game for him with not taking meaningful starting snaps in practice in like 2 years. I'm not saying like they're still going to make the playoffs for sure, but they can at least make it somewhat competitive if the defense can, defend. But
It also helps when Jamar Chase goes for 14 catches, 165 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, obviously that's going to help a lot. But
Yeah.
again, I mean, he's not going to get 14 catches if Jake
True.
Browning doesn't throw him at least 10 catchable balls.
True. Brock, do you have any thoughts on Cincinnati going forward? Are they cooked for the year?
They have weapons on offense that I feel like can keep them alive. It all depends on, it still all depends on their defense. I'm not saying that they're by no means gonna win the division. I will go out and say that. I know that they're currently in first place based off a record, but I do not think that will hold because of this injury. But I do think that they could still stay at least really competitive with the standings of maybe fighting for a wild card spot. But I will say, I do think it's funny that the guy that came up with the sack that sealed the game was the guy that they are refusing to pay and give an extension to. And it was another defensive stop, not that that's what won them the game, but another defensive stop to end the game for the Bengals so far this year. And this time it's coming from a guy that they refuse to pay. I think it's interesting, though, if Joe Burrow didn't get hurt, I think we'd be talking about something else that happened in this game that I don't think is I don't think it's too much like of a thing, but I'd like to see what you guys thought of it. Trevor Lawrence basically like brushed off whatever his head coach was telling him during the game in between a play. There's a clip of him basically just, doing that thing that everybody has done to someone at some point when they're being annoying with that hand gesture, just like leave me alone kind of thing. I don't really think it's too much because it's early in probably these two guys' relationship with each other. And Trevor Lawrence is one of the more highly competitive quarterbacks, at least that I've seen in recent memory. I remember seeing clips of him being very passionate on sidelines throughout his career in the NFL and in college. But do you guys think this is a big deal or not?
I mean, it certainly doesn't look good, but I mean, you look at last year with the Eagles and how
That's a good
Nick
point.
Sirianni and them were all acting on the sidelines, and then they turned it around and won the Super Bowl. So it's
Jaguars
early
to
enough.
Super Bowl.
It's early enough. I'm not gonna brush them off as like, oh, the season's cooked. They're going 0-17.
Yeah.
But I just wouldn't say that this is a great sign of things to come.
I'm not selling my Jag stock, but I'm also not doubling down on my Jag stock either. It's just I'm holding it in the portfolio right now. It's 2 weeks in the year. It's too early to sell. It's too early to like be all in on Jacksonville at the moment, but it is something to know.
You had Jacksonville stock?
I did. I had to win in the division. You guys had Houston win in the
I
division.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not
I have
have
plenty
any
of
stock.
Jacksonville stock. I also had a lot
All
of
three
Panthers
of us
stock,
still
but-
may have been wrong about that division pick. Let's be honest.
And we'll get to that team later on in this episode because they have certainly opened some eyes thus far in the season. Moving into the next noon game, Cowboys-Giants, absolute thriller, absolute shootout. 40-37, Dallas takes us home in overtime off a walk-off field goal by Brandon Aubrey. This was the best game of the weekend. This game was unbelievable to watch. That last 50-yard touchdown throw to Malik Neighbors was the best Russell Wilson throw I've seen in 10 years. I mean, that was one of the better throws I think I've ever seen by a quarterback. Russ had 450 yards, 3 touchdowns, and still wasn't enough to beat the Cowboys. Dak went 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. But Dallas was able to get the running game going with 18 carries, 97 yards on the ground for Javonte Williams. Another touchdown for him. Is it time, if you're Dallas? I know they just signed Jadeveon Clowney, but do we need to start believing in Dallas a little bit more? I know we were all super down on them after the Parsons trade. At least I was. I don't know if I could speak for both of you, but is it time to start believing in Dallas again, or is this just fool's gold?
Listen. They let the Giants score 37. I get it. Russ was cooking. Malik Neighbors is a heck of a receiver. You cannot be letting the Giants score 37 points. Their first drive, what was his name? James Hudson had 4 penalties. They had 6 penalties on the first drive, and they still got points. Yeah. You can't let that happen. You cannot let that type of stuff happen and have me take you seriously. That's just unacceptable.
I literally, there's nothing to add to what Braden just said. You let the Giants score 37. This game, literally both teams at one point, it felt like they were trying to give the other team the win. It felt like, no, I don't want to win this one. You win this one. I don't want to win this one. You win this one. I was actually hoping for a tie at one point, and we almost got it.
We were a 60-yard Brandon Aubrey field goal away from it. And I think I saw a stat. There have been 6 60-plus yard field goals to win a game. And they're 6 and 60 all time on makes. I don't know if they're for the win, but it's somewhere along these lines. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think the rest of the NFL, against them, it's 3 and 54. The Giants are 3 for 3. Again, for 60-yard field goals to win a game, there have been 6 made. 3 of them are against the Giants, and a team has not missed a 60-yard field goal to win a game against the Giants.
And I thought 54 yards was impressive.
That's a funny stat. I like that.
I mean, 5 years ago, it was. The game has changed.
Yeah. That man, Brandon Aubrey, is kicking footballs further than we've ever seen.
The amount of PATs or just kicks in general this week that were not necessarily that far that were missed, I felt like was a lot higher than usual. This weekend was kind of weird. And I guess I might be blurring both college sports and the pros this weekend, but I think I saw a handful of missed PATs and missed field goals.
A lot of missed kicks.
Well, literally last night, the Texans Buccaneers game, I looked at my little brother who never watches football, and I was like, he's gonna doink this right here. And you, Dawson, you can ask him after we record this whether or not I said this to him. I said he's gonna doink this. Not even 2 seconds later, one of the loudest thuds I have ever heard off of a field goal post.
Chase McLaughlin is one of the kickers of all time, man. I think it was Chase McLaughlin that came in when Robbie Gould was out for the year. We signed Chase McLaughlin in 2018, 2019. Guy missed 5 kicks in a game and got cut. Dude, he keeps getting jobs, and I just don't get it.
Jake Moody's the next version of that.
I wouldn't be surprised. Chase McLaughlin must be the Joe Milton of kickers. This dude must just not miss in practice and then get to a game and just you can see the brown running out of his pants. It's bad.
He's the best practice kicker of all time. In practice, he's the Spencer Petras of kicking.
Shout out Spencer Petras.
The best practice player of
49ers
all
legend,
time.
Spencer Petras.
49ers legend.
And Chiefs legend, for whatever that's worth. But
I'm getting you a Chiefs Spencer Petras jersey.
I would actually wear that, dude. Don't test me, because I would wear that loud. Oh, man. This next game, we're going to make this really quick because there's not really much to comment on it. Bears-Lions. BTA is an understatement of what happened. And if you don't know what that stands for, I'm not going to say it on the pod because I like,
You can look it up.
yeah,
That's fine.
most people understand what that means, but 52-21 is all I'm going to say. Do you guys have anything to comment on this game?
Amon-Ra St. Brown is pretty good at football.
Brock?
Oof.
You already made your Romo Doomsday. rant.
Yeah.
I have another statement.
All right.
Can we stop? I know I am about as guilty of this as anybody with how this offseason went. Can we stop crowning the Bears as Super Bowl champions after winning the offseason?
I've been saying I called that out. when you guys...
I will be the first to apologize. I gave the Bears way too much credit this offseason. Granted, I didn't even have them making the playoffs after all that glaze, but they might be. I think Chicago just is not meant to have fun. I think Jordan put like a curse on the city, and they are just not allowed to have fun anymore.
I think they sold their souls for the 2016 World Series.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Essentially.
I mean, it's even before that. Like, I mean, you look at like Derrick Rose won MVP, and then just the gods realize, oh wait, Chicago's having fun. That we got to get rid of that.
ACL gone.
We got to deal with that pronto.
Achilles gone.
Oh man.
You have
As someone
Thibodeau,
who
here's
has-
Hoiberg.
Oh my god, I forget the Fred Hoiberg era with Chicago. That
Yeah, and
doesn't
then
even
they
feel
proceeded
real.
to draft Lowry Marketing, and they're like, "There's his George Niang." And I was like,
Like 7-foot Jordan Yang.
couldn't be farther from the truth.
Oh man.
Finally, get rid of the Garpax regime just to bring in the same stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Next game.
Yeah.
Next
All
game.
right.
You're making me sad and not even like the Bears.
No, you're. Oh man, I'm looking at the schedule of what games we absolutely need to talk about.
We can go through some of these quick hitters.
Yeah, I'll just go through the scores. Rams Titans. Rams beat the Titans 33-19. Cam Ward looked good. He's like the only bright spot on the Titans. Rams also looked good. Do you guys have any thoughts on this one?
Not really. I mean, like you said, Cam Ward looked really good. That one touchdown just shouldn't have happened, but Cam Ward decided to. Cam Ward thought he was back in Miami for a second there.
Yeah.
But
Nice run by Puka Nacua.
Io
Fantasy
Manor.
Demon.
Watch out for Alec Io Manor on the waiver
Also
wire in the
fantasy
future.
demon. Next game on the Sunday slate, Patriots win this one against the Dolphins 33-27. Dolphins offense, I think the one storyline I got out of this game was Tyreek was able to catch a 30-yard completion for the first time in a year. So that was kind of cool.
Did he really?
Yeah, he got a 47-yard
I wasn't able to
reception.
watch much of this game. You can only put so many games on your quad box at the same time.
Yeah,
This one did not make the cut.
It was low-key an arm punt. It was just like, and then Tyreek had to come back and go get it, but it happened. First time in a year.
Hey, doesn't have to look
happened.
pretty. You just have to do it.
Poor
Yeah,
Dolphins for getting that run from HN called back, but outside of that, Dolphins suck.
Dude.
Start
preparing for April, Miami. Like, don't prepare for February, prepare for April when the draft happens. Drake May, he looked good not yesterday, 2 days ago. We're recording this on Tuesday night, but 19 for 23, 230 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and then had 10 carries, 31 rushing yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. You guys any believers in Drake May, or is this not really so far? I guess
Hey, I wouldn't have put him in the wild card if I didn't have a little bit of faith.
True.
This is a young team. They don't look great right now, but let Mike Vrabel teach these kids how to play ball.
Yeah,
Let's see what happens.
Give me a year before I can really give my opinion. Like, I need next year.
Nope, that's fair.
To be able to give my full assessment on how I feel about the Patriots.
Totally fair. Next game on the slate, Niners 2-0 beat the Saints 26-21. Mac Jones legacy game just happened 4 years after the fact. He thought he was going to San Francisco, but Mac Jones goes 26 for 39, 279 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. Spencer Rattler had a decent game as well, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like, Niners are 2-0, had some injuries. No George Kittle for the next few weeks. No Brock Purdy this weekend. Braden, is Purdy potentially playing next week?
I don't think he's not playing this week, but I think next week is the earliest he could possibly come back. I think reports were about 1 to 5 weeks. Basically, like, he's not going to play this week, but then after that, it's kind of just like, hey, Brock, how you feeling? Toe still hurts, boss, can't come in. Fair enough.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Saints are another one of those teams that is just, they're fighting for April. Like,
Spencer Rattler is going to be the scapegoat of this team. I really do believe. I'm not saying he's great.
He didn't
but,
play bad.
I think he really is just going to be the scapegoat of this season, and because of that, he'll never get another opportunity after this year to be a starter.
Yeah, I mean, he's not bad, but I think at the end of the day, if your starting quarterback is Spencer Rattler, I don't think you're taking yourself seriously. I say that with Spencer Rattler just demolishing my defense there.
Yeah, he didn't look bad on Sunday.
He's had some couple throws in both the 49ers and the Cardinals game where, like, dang, like
there's something there, but I think he's going to just sit around that like his ceiling is like the 33rd best quarterback. I think where he will be, his ceiling is a high-end backup.
Hey,
I don't see him being a franchise quarterback for anybody, but
he gives me
Carolina
like,
would love to have one more year.
He's one of those guys that like say that like this year with Joe Burrow going down, I'd be like, how much would it cost to get Spencer Rattler to come play?
I'm surprised we haven't heard any like rumors of that.
I think
honestly,
they're like really sold on Browning.
Yeah, again, Browning looked pretty good when he had to come in. I think they signed, what was it, Mike White and Sean Clifford to their practice squads, which
that's a name I haven't heard in a second.
Those are some names.
Wow.
So yeah, it surely looks like Jake Browning is going to be the captain of the ship for the next 3 months, which we'll see how that goes. If he sucks, then we might get some Mike White ball, baby.
If I'm a team and I lose my quarterback for the year or for a really long time, but I know I'm still competitive with my roster, I'm calling New Orleans and I'm calling Cleveland just to see what it will take for someone. Because I think like I'm not even talking about Sanders specifically. Like just give like one of these rookies or unproven guys a chance. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like you can't, like, it's a no like lose situation. Because if you're not sold on your backup, you might as well just not play the games then.
I mean, it's not like we'd have to give up like a lot. Like if you're like, hey, 6th round pick, Kenny Pickett. Like if you don't like Jake Browning, just kick the tires, see what happens.
If you don't like Jake Browning, you're not going to like Kenny Pickett, dude.
Probably not. But I mean,
just
listen.
saying.
If the bucket you're trying to pour water in already has holes in it, and you see another bucket, what's the harm in picking it up?
I like that analogy. I like that one. Sorry, that was funny. Next game on the Sunday slate. Won't talk about this one for too long. Bills Jets. Bills win this one 30-10. Josh Allen didn't have a dominant game. It was more about the Bills rushing attack. And it sounds like Fields is out for a couple weeks, maybe a month. Is that?
I thought it was just for like this week because he was in concussion protocol.
Oh, yep. Sorry, I got him and Purdy mixed up. Yeah, Fields is in concussion protocol for probably this week's game and potentially next week's game. But yeah, you guys have any thoughts on this one? Game was really never close, but
I mean, Josh Allen might get like an excuse to get plastic surgery with his nose.
That was some dog behavior to break your nose, realize, oh wait, Haley Steinfeld is in the box watching me right now. Let me just, all right, boss, I'm good. Let's play ball.
Ow. My nose hurt, just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't look too good.
No.
It broke it in my nose.
I think he did it on purpose.
I'm so happy you got that reference.
If you don't know where that's from, you don't need to know where that's from. me and Brock and Braden. Braden, do you know where that quote's from?
I think so.
You look like a baby Michael Jackson. I love baby Michael.
Oh man, I gotta stop because I could do quotes all day. If I want to. Moving on, Seahawks win against Steelers 31-17. Sam Darnold looked good, kind of bounced back from his week 1 disappointment against the Niners. Did have 2 turnovers, but he looked good passing the ball. Kenneth Walker had 100 rushing yards with a touchdown. Rodgers in the offense kind of stalled again, another week where they really weren't able to get the ground game going. Only 72 rushing yards as a team. Rodgers had those 2 turnovers with the picks. Is this more about Pittsburgh dropping this one, or is this more about Seattle going on the road and winning this one in your guys' eyes?
I don't really know. Maybe a little bit of both. Steelers kind of have had this thing where they just played down the competition for like the last decade. So not exactly super surprised that they were coming off a really impressive win and then just fell on their face. I will say probably one of the more like talked about headlines coming out of this game was learning why Kirk Ferentz didn't put Caleb Johnson on the kick return team.
Yeah,
because
is he still on the Steelers roster?
Who knows?
I would think so.
Have we gotten an updated depth chart?
I would think so. He's not gonna get cut.
You don't know that.
I do know that. They spent a 3rd-round pick on him. He's not gonna get cut. Now he is going in the doghouse. He ain't gonna get carries for a while. I do know that, but yeah,
Mike Tomlin did confirm.
You might have to think about it.
Mike Tomlin did confirm he won't be returning kickoffs next week.
He had 4 kick returns in his Iowa career, and Pittsburgh's like, "Yep, that's our starting kick returner." That is on them for putting a guy back there that doesn't.
They almost put Justin Fields at kick returner last year, so let's not act like they make great depth chart decisions on special.
I don't know who the Steelers special teams coordinator is, but
probably the one that was the special teams coordinator. Oh wait, Iowa State didn't have a special teams coordinator for the first like 6 or 7 years of Matt Campbell's tenure.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about late 2010s Iowa State special teams because I will cry on camera.
Yeah, maybe that's a whole different episode, just reliving Iowa and Iowa State traumas that we
that might be a B-roll episode.
Yeah,
if we get to like ones when we're in the off season and we're like mock draft 17, we might just,
might have to think
we might just start.
You want to go through my depression of being an Iowa State fan? Aaron Kraft. That's it.
Ohio State legend Aaron Kraft. Ugh. That felt gross to say.
Hey, the Ravens lost. I mean, won big time. We don't need to talk about that one that much. I don't think 41-17. No. I guess outside of Derrick Henry not showing up at all, getting you 2 fantasy points.
Yeah, you know what? He deserved a week off. He scored me 30 last week. I'm not gonna, and I still won this week, so I'm not gonna get on his case too much. But yeah, we will talk about the game for half a second. Baltimore won against the Browns 41-17. I mean, Lamar looked great, 200 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. Baltimore couldn't run the ball for whatever reason. They only had 45 rushing yards, but I think they had 2 defensive touchdowns? Maybe 1 defensive touchdown?
I'm not sure. I know I checked at some point and I saw that like 2 of the passing touchdowns were to like Tylan Wallace, Tez Walker, and like Nuke Hopkins. Like, if you were to tell me those guys were like cooking in 2025,
I refuse to watch any game involving the Browns. So,
sure, I need to just like until the Browns are relevant, until there's a relevant storyline with Cleveland where they make a close game, they're on the ban list. They're just not to be talked about until something crazy happens.
Does Sanders starting the game count as crazy?
I guess, but we're got to be somewhat close to that, right?
Starting a game is one thing. I think if he does like really good or really bad, that will be when we're like, all right, we got to talk about the Browns.
All right.
They're going on the ban list right now.
I'm assuming you're going down the same list as I am. Let's skip the one that you want, the next one, and go straight to the Cardinals game, 27-22 against the Panthers, just because I'd rather talk a little more about the other game. I'm assuming that's on your list.
Yeah. Yeah, Brock mentioned it. Cardinals moved to 2-0. They win the game 27-22 against Carolina. I gotta be honest, Brock, maybe I just feel this way. It feels like these two teams play like 3 times a year. Or they play once a year, and they have been for the last like 4 years.
You don't understand how, like, the video of Cam Newton going, "I'm back,"
Yeah,
and he wasn't back after that, like, shows up on my timeline at least once a week, and I'm like, that wasn't even that long ago. Like, am I blind, or are the Panthers and the Cardinals somehow in the same
this
division?
is a protected rivalry, dude.
Does the NFL just realize, like, they see the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers, like, all right, these guys have like 8 combined fans. We're just gonna put them in the corner.
Brock is
like,
one of them.
Buried in the noon slate, and be like, all right, you guys have fun in your little
noon
sicko.
slate. 3:30 game.
You
this
were
game's always a 3:30 game.
Oh my lord! Yeah, I don't.
Let's be honest. It should have been the game of the week, but we had to do the Super Bowl.
Honestly,
rematch.
watching Bryce Young go from absolutely abhorrent to realizing, oh wait, Dave Canales is going to bench me again. I need to lock in, and then proceeding to absolutely dial in was phenomenal.
Hey, I guess
as a guy that is forced to start Bryce Young in my Superflex league, I could not be happier that he is starting to figure out how to play quarterback again, especially since my other quarterback is Joe Burrow. You're going to have to figure it out, man.
Hey, shout out. Hey, everybody talks about how impressive LeBron's career is. Shout out Calais Campbell, a 39-year-old getting the game-winning sack. He didn't do it. Like,
he had 2 of them. 2 sacks on Sunday.
Hey, all-pro season at 39 years old. I think that'd be really impressive. I'm kidding. This is way early in the season, but
isn't he like?
It's got to be the oldest back on the Cardinals. I'm not going to lie. Sorry, what was that?
He's got to be the oldest defensive player in the league, right?
At least one that's playing consistently.
Yeah, kickers don't count. I'm sorry. If you're a 40-year-old kickers, they don't count.
Yeah,
and I guess the only other one I can think is
Rodgers
or Flacco, but yeah, that's still crazy impressive.
Who even would be like the next oldest defensive player? Like Von Miller?
Bobby Wagner, maybe?
Name a Washington Commanders starter. They're probably up there.
True. Quick shout out on this game before we move on. Hunter Renfrow, 7 receptions, 50 yards, 2 touchdowns. Didn't play bad. Panthers still might be a little frisky. Just saying.
Frisky is such a loose term. You know what? Do you know who I really like on the Panthers? T-Mac from Arizona. The rookie from Arizona. Like, he single-handedly might keep Bryce Young's job.
Yeah.
You know who's not looked good on that Panthers offense? Xavier Leggett, man.
Oh,
that dude.
Stinky doo-doo.
That man was drafted above Ladd McConkey and Keon Coleman.
Yikes.
Welcome back to the Quan Treadwell.
Oh my God. That is a name right there.
Dude, he's still playing, isn't he?
Might be getting like 3 snaps a game if he is.
It was him or not. It wasn't Corey Coleman.
He is one of those guys that's like, you would have thought he would have been out of the league like 8 years ago. He had like
last year.
Good career.
He's played.
Good might be a stretch. He's been on teams. He's been on a lot of teams. A lot of rosters.
He's played.
Gus Edwards felt like for a while until this year.
Yeah.
Minus, like, I guess, production. Gus Edwards seems like he was injured every other year, but
just every Ravens running back from the last like 3 years is how I feel about that. Like J.K. Dobbins too. I guess Dobbins played really well last year and then hasn't really played well to start this year. R.J. Harvey's kind of dominated those carries for Denver. But did you want to talk about the Denver Colts game or did you want to talk about Chiefs-Eagles?
No, let's save the Chiefs-Eagles game for last. Let's go through the rest of the games first.
Yeah, because we got to talk about that one. That was a hell of a game.
I don't really want to, but all right. Colts-Broncos. Colts win this one 29-28. Controversy with this one. I don't know if you guys saw, but was it a leverage call that basically for those of you that didn't watch this game, Indianapolis was going ahead to take a 60 something yard field
It was
goal.
going to take a 60-yard field goal. Absolutely, well, I wouldn't say shanked it, but missed it wide.
Yeah.
Late flag comes in, leverage call, which I feel like I know a decent amount of penalties in like in the NFL. Before Sunday, you could have paid me $1,000 to be like, hey, what is a leverage call? I couldn't tell you. Basically, in layman's terms, it's roughing the snapper, apparently.
I remember hearing about it, but I don't like you said, I wouldn't have been able to tell you what it was.
And,
like I had to rewind it like 3 times just to figure out what the guy even said. I had no idea.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that's kind of one of those calls like holding in my eyes where if you wanted to, you could call that on every single field goal. Just like you could call holding on every single offensive play if you wanted to.
Like they showed the replay. It wasn't really much more than like a maybe. Like it's one of those ticky-tacky, like,
yeah,
we're going to be talking about that call for probably a while, especially if the Broncos somehow end up missing the playoffs by like a game. We may never hear the end of this if that ends up happening.
Yeah. But I think outside of the controversy, the storyline is the Indianapolis Colts and how they are in first place of the AFC South. Danny Dimes is balling out thus far. 23 for 34, 316 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown. And then we have the tush push. We have the Dimes dive is what we have now. He did have another QB sneak touchdown on the 1 yard line.
He's got to be the favorite for MVP at this point.
He's up there.
I'm a gambling man myself. I might need to look into those odds because he's played really well.
There is a website. I don't know if it's still active, but at one point there was a website called DidDukeWin.com. And it literally was if you clicked on the link, it would tell you whether or not Duke won their last basketball game. There should be a website called DidTheColtsPunt.com.
True.
Because right now it would have been saying no for 2 weeks straight. The Colts have not punted this year. I don't remember the stat, but it has not happened in a while, if not ever, through the first 2 weeks of the NFL season. And Danny Dimes is the quarterback that's leading this offense. Who would have thought?
I think even more crazy, Shane Steichen is the head coach.
Yeah.
Like, this dude was going to get fired like a year ago. This guy gets Danny Dimes of all guys.
I was clowning this guy.
Tyler Warren. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, wait, I'm goated, man. I got this in the bag.
I thought Steichen was an utter fool by not playing Richardson. There's a reason why I'm not a decision maker in the NFL because, oh my goodness, Danny Dimes, he's back.
No one was looking at this team heading into this season.
No.
Granted, a lot of people were looking at a team in Houston to win that division, and so far has not went that way. Some people have looked at Jacksonville, but no one was giving any shot to the Colts.
No.
And I mean, I think I saw like Irsay's, the late Jim Irsay's daughters are the ones that are in control of the organization now. And one of them has been on the sidelines the last 2 weeks taking notes. Like, I'm not going to lie. The Colts are a franchise that I kind of hope can build something here because obviously the owners are really invested. If she's sitting on the sidelines, taking notes, headset on, and all that stuff. I thought that was actually kind of a really cool thing. I think some people have clowned her for whatever reason. I thought it was really cool. I'm kind of casually cheering for the Colts to win here this season a lot more. Maybe build something in the future. This is like a team I'm kind of enjoying to watch, which is crazy to even think about right now.
They're a team that I've felt bad for the last few years because, let's be honest, they should still have Andrew Luck playing for their team right now.
I was going to say
they had their guy where they wouldn't have to worry about quarterback for years and years and years. And Luck decided to retire in 2019. And what was the stat? They've had 9 different starting quarterbacks start week 1, or 8 different starting quarterbacks start week 1.
Yeah,
They've had a different quarterback.
They have not had a quarterback start week 1 in back-to-back seasons.
Shout out Jacoby Brissett.
Shout out Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, shout out. Oh man, but yeah, it's kind of a feel-good story if you're a Colts fan or if you're just an NFL fan, because it's kind of like Colts are kind of back. Daniel Jones is kind of reviving his career after getting cut by New York last year and not knowing if he was going to win the job over Richardson, and here he is. Hasn't had a turnover all year. Who would have saw that coming? That was not on my.
I had to say it. He's gonna have 3 now.
He's playing the Titans. I don't think he's gonna have any next week. But who knows?
You're questioning whether or not Danny Dimes is good enough at being bad that he won't do that.
Listen, that's the Giants' stank on him. He's got that washed off. This is Indiana Jones.
Point. That's a good point.
Indiana Jones is a
Dimes
baller.
dive is here, and it's here to stay. But he kind of bought himself the entire season, in my opinion, with how well the first 2 games have gone. I think regardless of what happens next few weeks, I think he's locked up that job the rest of the season. I don't think we'll see Richardson.
I wouldn't say the entire season. If he starts like if he goes back to New York, Daniel Jones, and he just starts throwing like 3 picks a game, you could definitely see AR start to come back and at least like get like mop up duty to kind of prove himself, get some game snaps. I wouldn't say that he's locked it up, but it certainly looks a lot more secure than it did week 1.
Moving on, we have a couple more games to get to, and then we'll talk about the big one that that's been on their mind. Sunday Night Football, Falcons, Vikings. Falcons win this one with a score of 22-6. I'm going to be honest, I don't want to really talk about this game. This game was really boring. There's one storyline we can talk about, but there was 1 touchdown the entire game. But the big storyline is J.J. McCarthy is going to be out with a sprained ankle. Is that the injury diagnosis?
That sounds right.
Or high ankle sprain. Yeah. Same thing.
It is.
So Carson Wentz is going to be starting for the Vikings for the next few weeks.
Yeah, I want Carson Wentz to go off so bad. Like, if I could see Carson Wentz, who do the Vikings got this week? Who do they got?
They have the Bengals.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
Oh,
Jake Browning versus Carson Wentz.
Give me like
this is either going to be the worst or the greatest game we have ever seen.
Give me a 45-42 like score. Both.
You thought Rams Chiefs was entertaining in like 2019, whatever year that was.
You thought
they're going to put
Bills
up a
Ravens week 1 was entertaining.
People forget Carson Wentz was an MVP candidate before he tore his ACL.
Oh, I never forget. Me and Braden have a buddy who.
How could we, Trey Danielson? If you're watching this video,
I'm sending this to him.
Your time is now. This is your rise up, man.
Brock,
I'm so hoping for Carson Wentz legacy game.
It is game time.
Brock, for context, our buddy Trey, he's been a Carson Wentz fan from like day one. He rooted for the Eagles, and when he got traded to, was it the Colts or the Commanders? Yep. One of the two.
He was traded to the Colts, and then they traded him to the Commanders.
Yeah, he's been following Carson Wentz like his entire journey.
I'm rooting for
the legacy. I think he might have given up once he hit the Chiefs because he just refused.
Yeah,
but
I think he better be back.
It's time.
It's time.
I will reach out this week to.
You better.
Yeah, because I need to know his honest thoughts. But yep,
everybody reach out to your Carson Wentz friends and tell them that
everybody's got one.
He's back. He's back. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about for Falcons Vikings?
If Michael Penix wants to throw the ball, that would be greatly appreciated, because I think he just kind of didn't want to. They had Drake London had like a 20-yard gain, and then Eric Wilson had one of the best peanut punches of the season so far, and then he just didn't get another target until like the 4th quarter, which sucked as a guy that started him in fantasy this week, since we've been talking about our fantasy starts this whole episode.
Yeah,
having him in the starting lineup while I had Alec Ayamaner drop 15 and Jawan Jennings drop 19 was a rough pill to swallow, but I did end up winning, if you were wondering.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started London and Kyle Pitts. Pitts did okay for tight end. Got him at a pretty good value. Somehow he didn't go at the 1-1. I don't know, but I greatly appreciated it.
Unserious league. Unserious.
Truly. The only benefit of that I'll give him is that it's a dynasty league that drafted last year, but even still.
Still unserious.
I have a buddy that has drafted Kyle Pitts every year since he was drafted by the Falcons. And we added a new member this year because one of our old buddies dropped out. And this person took Kyle Pitts right before him.
Oh,
and my buddy was
evil.
So mad.
Kick him out of the league.
The one year he's actually like good. Oh,
get him out of there.
And the guy that wanted to draft Kyle Pitts is 0-2. This guy is, granted, he's a defending back-to-back fantasy champ, so I don't feel too bad
because he had the power of Kyle Pitts.
Yeah,
just sitting on his roster.
Yeah. Oh man. Shout out Kyle Pitts. But 2 more games happened Monday night. We had a doubleheader. First game was Buccaneers-Texans. Buccaneers win this one on a last-second touchdown with a score of 20-19. That last drive that Baker Mayfield had was pretty nuts. He had the huge 4th and 10 conversion with his legs that he was able to pick up. And then, obviously, Rachaad White punched in the touchdown with about, 6 seconds left. And then by then, not enough time for Houston to really do anything. Brock, I know you've been on the Baker hype train since he was in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Where does Baker, in your guys' eyes, rank amongst other quarterbacks? Is he, because I think he's a top 10 quarterback, but is he closer to the top 5 than we realize?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you have the top 4 pretty locked down.
Right.
5 is questionable. I don't know if I would put Baker in the top 5.
I'm all for it.
But
you start going down the list, it's like, ooh, you got Jalen Hurts, who's got 100 yards through 2 weeks or whatever. You got Justin Herbert, who turns into a pumpkin in the playoffs.
He's close. He's closer to being a top 5 quarterback than he is being a top 10. He's closer to 5 than he is to 10, in my opinion.
I don't disagree. I like that.
That's what I will say. I can't talk about Baker really without having biased a part of it, just because, like Dawson said, I have been a Baker Mayfield fan since his college days, and now that I think about it, the amount of NFL quarterbacks that I like that all played at Oklahoma is just kind of absurd because yeah, I don't like that university. Screw you for leaving the Big 12. But I could, there's an argument really for Baker Mayfield being close to the top 5.
I saw the stat where since he's joined the Bucs, he's got the 3rd most passing yards in the league and the 3rd most touchdowns in the league. So I think there's a better argument than people want to make, honestly, because that 5 spot, because your top 4 in no order is Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar. You could fight about the order. I don't really care. I don't want to have arguments with people with that. But that 5 through 10, or maybe 5 through 12, that's about as wide open as it can get in my eyes. Maybe one episode we'll do a quarterback rankings or quarterback tiers.
The one that would come to mind that would be probably ranked over him just off of pure raw talent would be Herbert.
Again, he turns into a complete pumpkin in the playoffs. That's my only counter.
But Baker hasn't necessarily had his fair shot to really establish himself as a playoff player either, though.
True. He's got the one win against Pittsburgh when he was at the Browns, and then you have a win against
He almost
Philly?
beat the Chiefs. That was that one run that almost happened, and it was not only, but it was a lot because of Mahomes getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But he did play against the Eagles, and it didn't go well.
No, he beat the Eagles one of the years, if I'm remembering right.
Oh,
because then he lost to the Lions. It was the Lions' first year really doing something in the playoffs.
That's right. Yep. But no, I feel like there's a legit argument. The people that say no, instantly, are the ones that still think that short quarterbacks can't be top of the league. But That would be the only reasoning I think some people would say why he's not close to it, at least.
Is this more about this game? Is this more about Tampa being 2-0, or is this more about Houston being 0-2?
I think this is probably more Tampa Bay is a pretty good football team. But at the end of the day, man, that Texans offensive line, I know my tagline has kind of been, man, these guys have a really bad offensive line for like 3/4 of the league. But man, as many bad offensive lines as I have crowned, the Texans might actually take the cake. Oh man, Ariante, Ursary, and whoever on earth is playing the other tackle spot should not be playing, should not be starters in the league. But really, anybody on that line really needs to be flat out ashamed of themselves.
They have such a good offense, though, in terms of like the weapons that they have. That's what sucks. Is like I really do think that they could be something special with the weapons that they have.
Their offense is like a diet version of the Bengals offense, where they have really good weapons everywhere on that offense. The receiver room's good. Running backs can be good when they're healthy. I know this game, they really had a really bad rushing attack. CJ Stroud was their leading rusher until Nick Chubb got that 25-yard touchdown towards the end of the game. But when Joe Mixon is healthy, he's been pretty solid for him. Who knows when he comes back if they're going to be as good. And obviously CJ Stroud is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. We've been talking about top 5 quarterbacks. I think there's a conversation to be had maybe there as far as at least talent and potential goes. But, I mean, they just can't get time to protect them. That whether it is the running game or the passing game, they just cannot get enough time to be able to create anything consistently.
Don't disagree. One last game we'll get to before we talk about the big one. I didn't really watch much of this game, so you guys will have to do most of the talking on this one. But Chargers, Raiders. Chargers take the win 20-9 against the Raiders. Geno Smith had a pretty poor performance, and I guess my big takeaway from this game is kind of a pretty bad start for Ashton Genty in his first 2 NFL games. Am I reading too much into that, or is this Chargers defense is just that good?
I mean, they played the Patriots week 1, right? And he had like 28 rushing yards.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. There was so much hype coming out of the draft for him. Obviously, I don't want to sell any of my stock yet. It's too early. But him and Amari and Hampton have just not been what they were really cracked up to be. This
entire rookie class. Even like Travis Hunter, who we haven't mentioned a peep about.
I mean, really, it's just been Ibuka. Like, Ibuka's been really good out of the gates. Everybody else has been like, Which that's to be fairly expected 2 weeks into their rookie season. You're obviously not expecting them to be like top 10 at their position. There is a learning curve going from college to the pros. But even still, I feel like there's usually like a couple guys that have made names for themselves. But really, yeah, it's just Ibuka and then like the 3 catches Isaac Tesla has had, I feel like.
Yeah. Brock, any thoughts on
I turned
Raiders?
it off at the first quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anything can be said about this game aside, the doubleheader format on Monday Night Football is communism. It is awful. I tried to stay up as late as I could. I tapped out halfway through the third quarter, and I barely made it out of bed for work.
It's just too much. Monday night has always been one game. It needs to stay one game.
One game started at 7:15.
Perfect.
Ends at about like 10:15, 10:30. Yeah. The format works. Quit trying to get greedy for the ad money. Let the people get what they want. Why are we trying? Again, I said it earlier. If it isn't broke, don't fix it with the Packers offense. It's the same thing here. Quit trying to change things that don't need to be changed.
Yeah, Roger, we're talking to you. Stop trying to.
Right, I know you're watching, Raj. I know anything that has anything to do with the NFL.
yeah.
You have your grubby little paws all over it. Let me tell you what for, man. Sometimes it's not just about the money. Sometimes the people need to be heard and thought about at least once.
I wish for first of all, I hate Thursday night football. I really do. I just don't have the time to really worry about another
I
football
think
game.
everyone hates Thursday night football. Like even players, when they see they have a Thursday night game, everyone hates it.
Especially
So
players.
stupid.
There have been so many players that have come out and being like, yeah, it is like impossible.
With Sunday
have, like-
games. Oh, go ahead.
have a-
Sorry.
Like to have a Sunday game and then turn around like 4 days later and have to play again, that it takes an insane toll on your body.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, there's only like 1 or 2 Thursday night games per team per year. And you do have the longer after the Thursday game, but still, that quick bang bang into between games is brutal on the body. And it's no wonder why I feel like injuries go up a lot more on those Thursday games because players aren't fully healed from last week.
You can't convince me that the NFL really is 100% like we care about research base for our health of our players, and then they make them do Thursday night football games because I agree with you. It's not good for the body. There's just no way it's good for the body. The thing I want for Sunday games is I want them more staggered. I don't like every game starting at noon. I like noon, maybe like 15 minutes later after that, just so like they're not all ending right at once. I know, like, I guess for the red zone fans, like the witching hour is kind of fun, but like I kind of like the idea of, oh, this game's at half, I can watch a different game, because there are some weekends. Actually, this weekend was a perfect example where like all but like maybe one were at halftime at the same time. So there was a good like 10-15 minutes of like nothingness. And I think the only game that was on was a game that I at least did not want to watch. But
Yeah,
that's just a
I
random.
mean, I if I could think of any possible positive to come out of like every game going to like commercial break and halftime all at the same time, it's a good bathroom break, I guess.
That's true. That's true.
But if I have to justify your scheduling decision with, oh, you let the fans have a bathroom break between at halftime, what are we doing?
I don't know. So Roger, Mr. Roger Goodell, when you listen to this episode, just know we as NFL fans do not like Thursday night football. I think that's the main takeaway from all three of us, and I think the majority of NFL fans.
We don't like Thursday night football, and do not schedule a Monday night football game at 9 p.m.
No.
I take PayPal.
All right. It's time to talk about it. I don't want to, but we have to. Chiefs-Eagles rematch. Eagles picked this one up 20-17. This was a 3:30 slot. It was Fox's game of the week. Very, like, I don't want to say this game was boring because there was just a lot of rushing the ball for both teams, but not in the way that Kansas City wanted and not in the way I think Philly thought it was going to go. Kansas City's leading rusher was Patrick Mahomes with 66 yards. Kansas City's leading passer was Patrick Mahomes, obviously. I think the big storyline I need to talk about before we get into the actual game part, this tush push, get it out now. This is, if you're going to let the Eagles cheat every single play on it and let both the offensive guards jump before the ball's even snapped, what are we doing? You might as well just give the Eagles the first down or the touchdown without even running the play. Because I think that's what we've gotten to at this point. And I think because it was the primetime slot, that 3:30, everyone's eyes are on it, and multiple comments were made about how egregious, how terrible this looks for the NFL. I think going forward this year, the Eagles are going to start getting penalty calls on this tush push. But this game, I think Adam Schefter said it best. This game was lost in March when they didn't ban this play from happening in the NFL, when they allowed the Eagles to continue to do this. So, as a Chiefs fan, super frustrating, because when the Eagles got that pick off the batted pass by Kelsey, I kind of knew that it was over at that point in the game. I didn't think that the Eagles were going to give the ball back without giving up a touchdown for Kansas City. But that's my little monologue. Tush push needs to be banned. But what are your guys' thoughts on this game?
I mean, you said it best. At the end of the day, it comes down to the tush push. Even like aside from the guards jumping, if you get like an overhead view of like where the ball is, the center has the ball like right here. You can't do that. And like every single offensive lineman is in the neutral zone. That I played offensive line for like 6 years in high school. I'm sure you could have figured that out by looking at me if you didn't already have that previous information. That's like rule number one. That's the first thing you learn is where to line up so that way you're not in the neutral zone. The fact that, I mean, that is simply inexcusable that this has managed to go on as long as it has. Because it's just negligence. It's not, oh, I didn't know. This is weaponized incompetence at the end of the day. They know what they're doing. They know it's not necessarily illegal, but not necessarily legal. They get away with it, and they keep doing it. And the NFL knows they're cooked because you don't see NFL clips get taken off of the internet very often. If you were on Twitter the last couple days, the NFL was taking down clips of the guards jumping and the entire offensive line being in front of the football. They know, they are well aware of how bad, how egregious these penalties are, and they are silencing the people. I bring up again, Roger, listen to the people. We are sick of this nonsense. You know what's best for business. And it's not this. Penalties aside, it's just not fun football to watch. Nobody, unless you were an Eagles fan, nobody enjoys watching the entire offensive line just lunge forward. Everybody just, and it's just a first down every time. It's not enjoyable, man. It sucks. The play straight up sucks. Am I just a crybaby because I don't like the Eagles? Probably, man. I'm not gonna try to act like I'm not biased here. There are few teams in the NFL that I hate more than the Eagles, but it needs to go. A tush push aside, I'm done talking about the tush push. Brock, if you have anything you want to say about it, you can talk about it. I just want to say, the only other thing I want to say about this game is Jalen Hurts on the last couple snaps of the game trying to talk big to Chris Jones with 100 passing yards. You're a dork, dude. Why do you think you're so tough, man? Winning the game 13-10 with 100 passing yards because you have the Avengers on your team. Again, probably not the guy to be talking about this. Niners have had a pretty good roster around them for a while. We haven't been able to win, and the Eagles won a Super Bowl. Yeah. Don't care. You quit trying to act big in front of Chris. Quit trying to act cool, man. You're not cool.
You know what's bad? When people are siding with the Chiefs.
Yes.
Like, outside of the Patriots, I don't know if there's ever been something or a team or a player or anything that has been more hated than the Chiefs this past decade. Mm-hmm. Maybe LeBron, just because he's a very polarizing basketball player.
Yeah.
But
I would still even argue Kansas City, though.
The thing is like LeBron fans, it didn't matter which team he was on, people were still cheering for him. Even people that were like fans of the teams, like some people who hate some of the teams he was on would cheer for him because it's LeBron and that was their favorite player. There weren't many people that weren't fans of the Chiefs and still cheered for the Chiefs this past decade. a lot of people have been waiting for this 0-2 start for Kansas City and Pat Mahomes. So when people are siding with Kansas City over this issue of the tush push, not a good look. Not a good look for the NFL whatsoever. And I mean, this Chiefs offense is just hard to watch.
It's boring.
It makes me enjoy or appreciate Pat Mahomes a little more because of how difficult it is for him to handle that. I just know he wants to throw his helmet at every single player on that team on the offensive side right now. The run game is pretty much non-existent outside of him. Travis isn't Travis of old. And I mean, like I said this while watching the game with a bunch of Chiefs fans who are also Iowa State fans. I thought Ben Bramer's bobble of a pass that turned into an interception on Saturday was really bad. And then I saw a Hall of Fame NFL tight end do the exact same thing, if not worse, the next day. So yeah. I don't know where to begin with what's wrong with the Chiefs. And I can tell you it's obviously on the offensive side, and it's not Mahomes. Like, there's a reason that I have always said the last couple of years that if the award MVP actually stood for what it was, like, actually was given to the person of most value, Mahomes would win it every year. I truly believe that, because the Chiefs right now they would still be 0-2. But they would be talking about what's who could they potentially draft in the next draft that could be a quarterback, because this team is being held together by their defense a little bit, but mostly Mahomes, really.
As a Chiefs fan, I'm not pressing the panic button because I've seen this before. I remember I was old enough to remember when Kansas City started 3-4 in 2021 and finished season 12-5, went to the AFC title game. They did lose the AFC title game, but they made it despite a below 500 record through 7 games. I'm also old enough to remember in 2014 when they started, I believe, 1-5 and ran the table the rest of the way, won a playoff game. So it's not unheard of for these Andy Reid teams to like turn it around and flip the switch and start getting their offense together. But Brock, you nailed it. This offense is horrible to watch. It like if it wasn't that I was a fan, like this offense is horrible to watch. It feels like I'm just watching Iowa 2 days in a row. It honestly, like I'm just watching a quarterback run for his life, can't really connect with his receivers because his receivers are either dropping the ball, running the wrong route, or quarterback is overthrowing. But I'm all that to say, not pressing the panic button on the Chiefs yet. We've seen this story before. I would be foolish, and I think the rest of the general public would be foolish to give up on this team after just 2 games. Now, they start 0-3. They lose the game on Sunday night to the Giants. I'm ready to have that conversation, but I don't really see that happening. But if it happens, we'll talk about that when it gets there. But
what's your thoughts on the Travis Kelce meltdown? Because they've won a Super Bowl where he's had a meltdown.
Yeah.
So this is not the first time he's had. And I think it was directed towards Andy Reid. I don't really know if I saw an angle where he actually was talking to him. I just know that a lot of people have hinted at that. And again, not the first time we've seen this between those two. So as someone that watches and pays attention to the Chiefs more than either of us, is this something, or is this kind of just same old when the Chiefs are kind of struggling?
I don't think it's really much of anything. I think it's just Reid being a huge competitor and Kelce being a huge competitor and knowing that this team has the potential to go and win a Super Bowl, but they're not playing like it right now.
Yeah.
Both, I think everyone on offense, even Pat's had some errant throws in the first 2 games where it's just like, whoa, well, that's not the Pat Mahomes of old, where it's just kind of head scratching. But I think it's just both guys want to win so much, and the offense is just sputtering right now.
You know what this team reminds me of? This might be a bad comparison. This reminds me of the Los Angeles Lakers team, like I think it was like 2013 with like Dwight Howard and Steve Nash, where like, Kobe and Powell were there, like the center points of the team that won back-to-back NBA championships. So you got Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and then you just got a bunch of old, washed-up players that are supporting them. And you look at their receiver; they have some young receivers. Don't get me wrong; they do have some young receivers, but Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, like I'm like, if this was 2019, 2020, 2021, I'd be like, oh, this offense will have no issue moving the ball.
Kareem Hunt.
Your Kareem Hunt, like literally, like, is this the, like, maybe that's a bad comparison, but like this team just reminds me of what that Lakers team kind of is. Like, you look on paper, it's like they got names, but they're not doing anything.
I have a better comparison, but I like that one. But I'm think more of 2017, 2018 Cavs.
That's fair.
Yep.
Mahomes being the LeBron figure, Kelce being, I guess, Kevin Love. And then it's just like George Hill, Rodney Hood, like just a bunch of the rest of the roster.
But was it 2017, 2018 or 18-19 where you had like Dwayne Wade for half a season, Derrick Rose
17,
for half a
18,
season.
because Bron's first year with the Lakers was 18-19. But
yeah.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about when recapping week 1 before we go into our players of the week and power rankings and look forward to week 3?
Nope.
For those that are ready to panic about their team, whether they're 1-1, 0-2, whatever, I know that they keep doing the statistic of like odds of making the playoffs after starting 0-2. It's been done before. Don't panic, because I can guarantee you right now there are some teams that are 2-0 that probably won't make the playoffs. And this is coming from a Cardinals fan where they started 7-0 once and then were the last team in the wild card and got destroyed by the Rams that same season. So what could be a good start doesn't mean your team is going to be good or have a successful season. And just because you had a bad start does not mean your team is going to be bad and have a terrible season, especially if these injuries start piling up in the quarterback world again.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Would you guys like to start with your players of the week or power rankings?
How did we do it last week? I don't remember.
I think we did power rankings first.
That
sounds right. No.
Let's
right.
do
we gotta do both anyways.
Players of the week, because then we can end on power rankings.
All right. We are going to do our week 2 players of the week. Braden, we are going to start with your player of the week. Just want to give us a rundown of why you chose him, and floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why my only words for the Bears-Lions game was Amon-Ra St. Brown is really good at football, because he's pretty good at football if you haven't learned by now. Yeah, I mean, you can see the stats on screen for audio listeners. 115 receiving yards, 3 receiving touchdowns. I'm not sure how many catches he had. I think it was like 9 catches. 9 catches.
9. Yeah,
9 for 115, 3 receiving touchdowns. This wasn't the reason why I picked him for player of the week, but he did win me the week in fantasy, since we've been just kind of encapsulating it all up. The only reason why I won by like 15 points was because Amon-Ra St. Brown dropped 40 for me in PPR. Just an absolute stud. Felt like every time I looked at this game, it was Amon-Ra St. Brown either getting an insane catch for yardage or like the 4th and goal where I thought, oh, they're just going to give it to David Montgomery. They got to get a yard. Oh, nope, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown on a wheel. He's wide open. It's a touchdown. I know the Bears, I think, did Jalen Johnson not play this game, or did he get taken out in the middle of the game? I'm not sure, but I know.
He got taken out in the middle because I think he's out for quite a bit of the season now.
Yeah, the Bears secondary has been really banged up pretty much all year, and that may have kind of been a little bit of the reason why he was able to go off this much. But at the end of the day, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a really good receiver, and when you give him the targets, he's going to make catches and he's going to make plays, and there's no better example of that than what he did this week.
All right, I like it a lot. Brock, here is your player of the week. You guys actually have the same game for your guys' player of the week, but Brock, do you want to go into yours?
Yeah, first of all, shout out Dawson for these graphics. He put in a lot of work this past 24 hours. He sent me some stuff.
Getting better day by day, day by day.
And-
It is not my forte.
and that like in Dawson, I feel bad because like I have a little bit of a background of graphic design and stuff, so like I send him a bunch of notes and difference. So like this wasn't even the final product. The first one looked great too, and we could have rolled with it, but like the little tweaks that he was able to make just made these look so much better. And so we're lucky to have Dawson as our unofficial graphic designer for this season.
Does this get a pay raise with it too?
Yeah, you get 10 times of what you're making right now.
You get my share of the cut.
Oh, there we
Of
go.
what this podcast makes.
There we go.
I don't do anything other than just show up and just ramble for.
If we're going off
an
of
hour and a
that,
half.
if anything, Dawson, you owe me money because
Yeah, that's true.
we don't make money on this podcast.
This is a non-profit right here.
This is if anything, an
Yeah, I was talking about the
investment, a
Lions,
payment. But
True.
Something about it.
yeah. Anyways, I went with Jared Goff as my player of the week, and I mean, big reason is actually because of St. Brown and his performance, but the whole team just played really good as a receiving core as Braden's getting attacked by his cat. But
Don't declaw, but man, these things hurt.
oh yeah. But Jared Goff, 334 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 82% completion percentage, wasn't sacked once, is one of the things that I thought was really impressive because I felt like the Lions offense just struggled to give him any time in the world against the Packers the week before. So the fact that he was able to not get sacked at all in this game, unless I am looking at these stats wrong. Yeah, it doesn't look like he got sacked at all. 5 touchdowns, 334 yards, and an impressive 1 rush for 6 yards. For Jared Goff, that is really good. And so because of that, I'm going to give him my player of the week. But I could have went with St. Brown. I also looked at James Cook from the Bills, but ended up going with Jared Goff.
All right. You guys might not like my player of the week. I like to give my player of the week to guys that might not ever get it. They don't get the recognition.
Kicker?
But Braden, I know Braden's going to hate this one. My player of the week
Come on.
is McCorkle Jones. I guess my expectations of Mac Jones going into Sunday were really, really low. So when I saw he threw for 280 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and had 66% completion percentage, that was enough for me. I also thought about Daniel Jones, but the way Daniel Jones has been playing, he might be the player of the week next week for me. He had a great game against the Saints. When the Niners were really able to get the run game going as effectively as they wanted to. But, yeah, I thought Mac Jones played really well in, like, not short order, because he played – didn't he play a little bit of week 1? Or
I don't think so, no. He just
But he had a full
knew
week to
going into the
prepare.
week that he was going to be
Right.
the starter.
But, yeah, with 1 week to prepare, played well. Granted, I know it was against the Saints, but again, my expectations were so low that when I saw his stat line and I saw the way he played, I was impressed enough where I'm like, you know what? Mac might get – this might be the only time for me he ever gets player of the week nod. So,
This is the only time.
yeah, so I
Now
kind
we'll
of
go
figured we give enough awards to, like, Mahomes, Lamar, Josh, and them. I figured, you know what? Mac Jones, you're the player of the week this week, in my eyes. But, all right. Time for power rankings, recapping week 2 of the NFL season. We're going to start with Braden. Braden, you want to just kind of give us a rundown of your power rankings for this week?
Yeah. So for the keen-eyed amongst you, or for audio listeners who don't have the graphic on screen, my top 5 did not change at all. I think every team that I had in my top 5 was pretty. I don't know if dominant would be the term, especially for the top 2. I would say for sure. But at the end of the day, they were able to win their games, and I find it hard to punish a team for winning. It wasn't exactly pretty for the Eagles, especially. There was a lot of controversy in that win with whatever the tush push is trying to do. I said enough about that. But like I kind of said with the Chargers last week, whenever you beat the Chiefs, you're going to get a little bit of a bump for it versus beating any other team. So I couldn't really justify knocking them down for it. And yeah, I mean, I think that's words are hard. People that didn't watch last week, didn't listen last week, don't have it on screen. I will say the teams. Number 1, I have Buffalo. Number 2, Green Bay. Number 3, Philadelphia. Number 4, the Los Angeles Chargers. And number 5, the Baltimore Ravens. I want to add with the Ravens. Last week, I know 0-1. How do you put an 0-1 team in the top 5? This week proves why you put an 0-1 team in the top 5, because they are a good team. And even when Derrick Henry only has like 22 yards, they still find a way to win games with the most improbable of characters scoring them touchdowns and winning the game. And I know it's against the Browns. The Browns are not good, but you have to win the games that you are projected to win, and they took care of business, to say the least.
I like it a lot. Brock, here are your power rankings for week 2.
Same top 3 as I think. Yeah, same top 3 as last week. Same as Braden, Buffalo, Green Bay, Philadelphia, and then I got the Rams and the Colts at 4 and 5. Maybe a little bit of a stretch on these two teams, but and this is coming from someone that gives no credit to the Los Angeles Rams in anything that they do. So I got them at 4.
You and Braden both.
Yeah, their offense is just something else, which is weird because they don't run the ball that often. As someone that has Kyron Williams as running back, I can attest to that.
So do I.
But their offense has been really good, and their defense has gotten better. I feel like they've gotten better a little bit. I'm still interested to see what they're going to look like as the season progresses. I again, like 4 and 5, 4 through 8 is very interchangeable right now. These are just, I guess, 2 teams I wanted to highlight this week that I felt like we didn't talk a lot about. What we talked about the Colts a lot more heading into in this episode specifically, but the Rams, I feel like, you guys hinted at the Rams being a potential good team heading into the season, and I didn't see it. And here they are sitting at 2-0 when I didn't think that they probably would. And they've impressed me a lot more than I thought heading into this season. So maybe they're actually better than my projections that I had at the beginning of this season. Right now I have them at 4. Who knows if they'll be ranked next week though? Because as you can tell, neither of my 4 and 5 spot are back after last week. And then I got the Colts. I mean, you can't have it. I feel like it's got to be against the rules or something like that if you don't put a team that's 2-0 and hasn't punted all season in your top 5. And so, I mean, I know they got the luck of the draw with the leverage penalty, but they're 2-0. They beat a good Broncos team. I don't have a reason not to put them in my top 5. Let me just say that. However, Daniel Jones has a really good opportunity to give me a reason, depending on how Daniel Jones' season progresses. But give me the Colts at number 5. The Ravens are just outside. I thought about putting the Chargers in there too. I just wasn't, the Ravens beat a team that we're not allowed to talk about on this podcast anymore, apparently.
No,
and
they're
then
on the ban list.
And then the Chargers, I don't know. I'm not sold yet, because if the Chiefs would have beaten the Eagles and looked good this week, maybe I would have probably put the Chargers in this ranking. But right now their wins don't necessarily look that good when you look at the teams that they have beaten or who they have played and beaten and what they have done this year.
I like it a lot. And to kind of wrap up the power rankings for this week, here are my power rankings. We all have the same exact top 3. I have a different order. I have Green Bay at number 1, Buffalo at number 2, Philly at number 3. All 3 teams look good. I have my doubts about Philly and some questions, but Philly, they're the defending champs for a reason. They have to be this high, and they're undefeated to this point in the season. I like Brock's take about the Rams a lot. This offense, the passing offense especially, with Puka and Devontae Adams, looks really good thus far. They didn't play great in week 1, passing-wise, but week 2 against the Titans, they really opened up the playbook and let guys like Puka Nacua get a rushing touchdown, have 100 yards. Devontae Adams has first receiving touchdown with the Rams. So, and I like their defense a lot. This was the defense last year in the playoffs that got 8 sacks on Minnesota. I think that's the right number, or a lot of sacks. They were able to terrorize Minnesota's D-line. So I really like what the Rams got going for them. And this fifth spot, I was so torn. I was thinking Baltimore. I was thinking the Chargers because I had the Chargers in my power rankings last week. But we don't really ever give too much love to Tampa Bay. So I kind of just figured Brock is the avid Tampa Bay fan of this podcast.
Frisky Buccaneers.
They're not even.
To finish his thought after he. Am I lagging?
No. You didn't lag. Dawson lagged again.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're not stopping.
Neither
this
you were
recording.
talking. I was like, wait, am I here?
No,
Dawson, finish up your thought. You said
Something about the Bucks being not frisky because
they're not
good.
even a frisky. They're just a good team in my eyes. Like I wouldn't even like the Panthers are frisky. If that's like the bar.
Well, then
The Jags are
like
frisky.
there's like 2 teams that are frisky. Then if we're talking,
they're both
the Panthers
both
being
teams
the
I have
bar.
stock in, but the stock is not going up in price. It is.
We need
just
to do
staying-
like a segment of like we need to get like an animation of like stocks
Stock
and
chart.
stuff like that and call it Dawson's frisky like
Dawson's
stocks or
buy
something
low,
like-
sell high teams.
yeah. No, somehow frisky has to be involved because you keep talking about that with the Panthers.
We need everybody knows the Joe Flacco elite-o-meter, where it's like whether he, like elite, kind of elite, not elite. Right now, it's obvious. I know Brown's not supposed to talk about him. Joe Flacco is his own man.
Yeah.
He is his own entity aside from
He
that
is.
dastardly organization. He is. To get back to my point, instead of elite-o-meter, it's a Frisco-meter with the Carolina Panthers frisky meter.
Yes.
Slammed.
Yes.
They're looking hot. They might make the playoffs. At the bottom, Bryce Young might actually throw them into 0-17. And then you can figure out the middle as you go. You're a graphic designer. You'll figure it out.
I'll see
But
if I can cook some.
there's your blueprint.
I like it.
You got a week to figure it out.
I like that. I might have to do something for that next week. But yeah, kind of just to summarize my top 5: Green Bay, Buffalo, Philly, and then I have it for new teams in my top 5. I have the Rams at 4 and the Buccaneers at 5. Fellas, is there anything else we would like to discuss before we kind of wrap this one up?
Again, don't overreact on your teams depending on the record, both positively and negatively. Trust me, it will all be okay. Or what you thought is not that's not what's gonna happen, and you're gonna end up having a terrible time. Like I am strapped, ready to be disappointed by my Cardinals. At some point, they play the 49ers this week, so somebody's going to be the top of or at least tied for the top of the AFC West by the end of this week.
Braden, any other thoughts?
Injuries are. I don't like them. Nobody likes them.
Fair.
Hey, can we turn those off?
I think we need to turn off wear and tear, and this is a broken system.
I like it. That's funny. We do have some good games this week. I don't know if you guys have taken a look at the rest of the schedule, but Rams Eagles should be a really good one. Playoff rematch from last year. And then the Monday night game of Lions Ravens. Oh boy, there's gonna be some points scored in that one. So that one's gonna be fun. And then you guys play each other 3:30 slot on Fox. Cardinals Niners. So one of you guys is gonna be really happy. One of you guys is going to be sad. Maybe it ends in a tie. Who knows?
I think both of us will be sad if it ends in a tie.
I'd rather lose. I'd rather lose than tie.
You don't want the 2-0-1.
I as much as I wanted the Giants and the Cowboys to tie last week, I think ties are the worst thing in college or just sports in general. And so
we just wanted the Cowboys to have a tie because it's funny.
Yes.
not funny when
Yeah.
it's our team.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would rather lose every game than to tie once. It just is not fun.
Well, if you guys don't really have anything else to say, I think it's probably good to wrap up this episode. This after an hour and 30 minutes, but we're there. We got all of our points across. But
They
be
gave us
sure
extra time to record, and by Lord, we are using
we
it.
were abusing it. But be sure to follow all of our podcasts, all of our social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Make sure to listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube. We're out on almost every platform that you can listen to. Make sure you got notifications on. Make sure you tune into every episode because we're putting out episodes every single week during the NFL season, and the hardwood convos are probably starting up in the next month or so with the NBA season about 4 or 5 weeks away at this point in the season. Uh, but yeah, kind of just to wrap up this episode of the Between the Hashes podcast. Another great episode going into week 3 of the NFL. But for Braden Bankin, Brock Bierman, I'm Dawson Livingston, and we are signing off.